every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Gete. Now, major story. The Independent National Electoral Commission asked Nigerians to disregard remote voting with temporary voter card. Also in this program, the Independent National Electoral Commission postpones the House of Assembly elections in 8 of 24 constituencies in Bayelsa State. Security agencies all over the Federation expresses readiness to secure the election. Outside Nigeria, India kicks as Pakistan releases on bail the alleged mastermind of the deadly Mumbai attack of 2008. Thanks for staying tuned with us. It's CoreTV Primetime News now. Details of the news and other stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission wants Nigerians to disregard claims by some political leaders that temporary voter cards can be used for the April 11th governorship and State House of Assembly elections. INEC insists that only voters with permanent voters card will be allowed to vote on Saturday. It specifically noted that a state governor in the North Central geopolitical zone had assured voters in his state to come out on the day with their TVCs if they do not have PVCs. The commission advised Nigerians to disregard what it describes as false assurances and warned that security agencies are prepared to arrest anyone who infringes on laid down electoral guidelines. INEC has meanwhile assigned the resident electoral commissioner REC of Kogi State, Hussaini Pai, to supervise the governorship and state assembly elections in Kano State following the death of Minkala Abdullahi last weekend. The Independent National Electoral Commission in Kwara State has identified non-removal of nylon films on the finger capture region of card readers as one of the causes of the hitches experienced with the device in the March 2018 elections. INEC also attributed the flop to the removal of the card reader's battery, stating that the process required that the device be configured before it could be used. The Commission, in a memo to the supervisory and presiding polling officers by the State Resident Electoral Commissioner Emmanuel Onuacheyo, gave some directives to the officers to forestall a repeat of the challenges. The Public Relations Officer of the Commission, Ayanda Jacob, said the earlier hiccups could be avoided if the officers complied with the directives, and further hinted that both sensitive and non-sensitive election materials had been moved to the 16 local government areas of the state to ensure that Saturday's poll was more effective. The Independent National Electoral Commission has postponed the State House of Assembly election in 8 of 24 constituencies of Bayelsa State. The state's resident electoral commissioner, Bariko Bagi, said in a statement on Friday that elections for the affected constituencies were held on Saturday, April 18, 2015. The affected councils are Ekeremo constituencies 1, 2 and 3, Kolokuma, Okbokuma constituencies 1 and 2, Sagbama constituencies 1 and 2, and Southern Ijaw constituency 1. Bagi, however, said the election will hold as scheduled in the rest 16 constituencies on Saturday. The REC was however silent on the reason for the decision to postpone the election by 1 week. He simply stated that the election was shifted because of the position of stakeholders that the election should not hold without full complement of the ballot papers. It was, however, revealed that the political parties and their candidates insisted on the postponement of the election because of serious discrepancies in the ballot papers for the constituencies. Ahead of the governorship and State House of Assembly elections, the police and other security agencies in Ogun State have again gone back to the drawing board on how the state can achieve a peaceful poll. Olajumoke Olatunji was at the meeting held at Abeokuta at the police headquarters in Elewe Eron, Abeokuta. She found in this report.
In less than 24 hours, Nigerians will be heading to the poll again to observe their civil duty for the governorship and National Assembly elections. All security agencies and other stakeholders are advocating for violence-free elections as observed at the just concluded presidential and National Assembly elections. Against this background, the police and other security agencies gathered at Liwero, headquarters of the Ogun Police Command in Abeokuta, with representatives of political parties and how to continue with the peaceful nature of the state during and after the election.
This is a very important election because it's a grassroots election. That is why we need to talk to the stakeholders and also we, the security agencies, how we can synergize and to have a peaceful election, devoid of any problem. We, on our part, as security agencies, we are guided by our rule of engagement. We have given adequate coverage during the first stage of the process. That is the electioneering up to the election itself. We are once again going to another election. Those lessons we learn, those areas we know we have observed lapses, we have corrected them, and we are sure we are going to give adequate security to the electorate to discharge their franchise, to the election managers, that is the INEC, we will provide adequate security for the INEC staff and INEC materials.
Speaking on behalf of the State Security Service, Umar appeals to all politicians to do the needful with their supporters following the reported violence in some parts of Ogun State some hours ago.
I want to add an appeal that we should seize our swords, please. We didn't have this during the presidential and National Assembly election. So why should there be a very high tension now? As the AIG observed, this is a very important election because it is locally based. And if at the take-off point there is no peace and everybody is charged, I don't know what we will meet in the field. So the security agencies cannot achieve it or cannot get it right without the cooperation of the other actors.
The Guardian also urged politicians who went about their escorts to the polling booths during the last elections to desist from such, as the institution would not tolerate such this time. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Abeokuta.
As another election is here, the Kwara Police has read the Riot Act to would-be criminals and troublemakers ahead of the Saturday polls. Speaking at the press briefing, the police chief in charge of the elections in the state reaffirms his readiness for a smooth poll, while some Kwarans also expressed expectations over the poll. Rashid has more.
The newly posted Deputy Inspector General of Police, Olufemi Adenike, has urged all Kwarans to desist from any form of violence ahead of the governorship and House of Assembly elections. While addressing his members ahead of polls, he stated that the movement of vehicles and other related items will be restricted from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the evening.
From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the afternoon. We don't want people moving about, because if we allow this, there is tendency for politicians to move voters from one part of the state to another. So we want people to stay within their voting area. You vote, and if you want to see your vote or watch them count it, you are free to stay.
And as Nigerians head to the polls, Kwara residents speak on their expectation ahead Saturday elections.
It's my civic duty as a Nigerian, and it's a patriotic duty to go out and be a part of those who will choose, who will have a say in the affairs of my life, of my children, and generations to come. So the kind of leader that will come here and do what they have seen outside here and make it better, that's the kind of leader I'm looking forward to.
I like to vote in a person that will be people concerned in his programs, like the welfare, for the economy of the nation is not in its best now, but it takes somebody who is well prepared for the office to get there and make a difference. So that's the kind of person I will search my mind and vote for.
For a state like Kwara, I desire a leader who can lead by example, a leader who is sincere to his words, a leader who stands by his promises to the electorate.
As the last lap of the 2015 general elections draws so close, it is expected that Nigeria will be better as another political system beacons. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ilorin.
The CP of the Plateau State Police Command, Nasiru Oki, has called on politicians to do everything in their powers to ensure that the Saturday election goes on peacefully. According to Nasiru Oki, if politicians decide to be violent, their followers will follow, just as their followers will throw the path of peace if they see their leaders throwing the peaceful path. In his words to the electorate, he called on them to come out en masse to cast their votes and immediately return home to wait for the announcement of results, saying that crowding the electoral officials will be counterproductive for all during the elections.
To please come out and vote quietly and return back to their places of abode and wait patiently for the results, and nobody should please announce the results before the electoral officers. They should wait until INEC announces results. Then to the politicians, we're asking them to also refrain their movements on that day. They are not allowed to come to police stations with armed policemen or thugs. And after the result must have been announced, they should take it with all sincerity and accept it as the result that came out from the electorate. If they decide to be violent, their followers will be violent too. But if they decide to toe the path of the law, their followers will follow to the path of the law.
While promising fairness and neutrality of the police, Oki stated that he and his men have put the necessary preparations in place to ensure a peaceful and orderly election day in the state. And even though in some quarters the police were accused of molestation, the CP disagreed that he never got such report.
Well, like we did the other time, we were very, very plain and fair to everybody. All we did was to provide security, INEC officials, their materials, the electorate, and the generality of the Plateau citizens.
And your men never took side?
We did not, and we will not, at any point at all, take sides.
As Ekiti State heads to the House of Assembly polls amidst political crisis, the newly deployed police chief Joshua Ebine has taken a tough stand again ahead the election. Ebine, who was solely deployed on election duties, spoke at a press briefing stating the readiness of police to counter any criminal act during and after the elections. Rashid again completes the story.
The ongoing political crisis engulfing Ekiti State and news of the transfer of Commissioner Taiwo Lakano was received with mixed reactions. But clearing the air, the new Commissioner of Police, Joshua Ebine, says he is in the state for election purposes. He, however, says security of lives and properties will be top priority, especially due to the crisis overwhelming the state, as there will be no sacred cow.
The police under my command will continue to be highly professional and apolitical. The laws of the land as well as the Constitution will be enforced to the letter, not minding whose house is God.
For the election, Ebine reassures Ekiti citizens of maximum protection as he reads Riot Act to would-be troublemakers.
A level playing ground will be provided to all participants in the elections. INEC officials, NYC and ad hoc staff, pressmen as well as the electorate are assured of adequate security. All persons in the state must obey all rules and regulations of the elections and all extant laws of the land. There will not be sacred cows anywhere. We need peace for credible elections, and we solicit the cooperation of all and sundry.
The House of Assembly election in Ekiti is no doubt a major determinant in the political upheaval that has rocked the state for some time now. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
It's CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take a break and be back with more stories. Stay with us.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Good to have you. Stay tuned. It's CoreTV Primetime News. A reminder of our top stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission asks Nigerians to disregard rumor voting with temporary voter cards. The Independent National Electoral Commission postpones the House of Assembly elections in 8 of 24 constituencies in Bayelsa State. Security agencies all over the Federation expresses readiness to secure the election. And for more on CoreTV News, you can catch us on our social media platforms on Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com/CoreTV News. There is a massive security presence in Kaduna ahead of Saturday's governorship and State House of Assembly elections. And a Deputy Inspector General of Police has overseen the joint effort as part of efforts to ensure seamless operation. Military and police patrol team have also been parading major streets in the metropolis. Amina and Nebi has more in this report presented from our studios.
We have enough security on ground. I assure you, we are prepared for the elections, just like the one we've done before, the presidential election. This one too, we are very much prepared. There will be no breakdown of law and order. And when I say we are prepared for any option.
The Western Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy say they are fully prepared for the second lap of the 2015 general elections. Flag Officer Jonathan Ango, while parading a suspected sea pirate, told journalists in Lagos that they will work hand in hand with INEC and the police in ensuring peaceful and violence-free polls. Patience Ajiboye was there. She brought back this report.
In his address to the press, Flag Officer of the Western Naval Command, Jonathan Ango, says, although the police and other security forces are working, the Nigerian Navy have also ensured that measures are on ground to facilitate smooth elections.
As part of our preparations and our actions, we have deployed our ships right from the day before yesterday to cover the inland waterways and also to protect the ships and patrol the territorial waters. We have deployed 4 capital vessels and 2 coastal patrol boats, and then we have about 4 inshore patrol crafts that are patrolling the waterways.
The suspected sea pirate, 31-year-old Sholasta says he is not aware of the reason for his arrest, as he was only going about his daily means of livelihood.
I'm not a sea pirate, I have a family. I'm not a sea pirate, I stay in Ajegunle. So I am a passenger. Before I'm a ship handler, I was buying food to ship and supply before. So after I graduated from under my boss, so I bought my own boat, passenger boat. People should charter me to sea to supply food. And by myself, I buy food at times to the white men. I supply them food and card. At times they'll call me to bring card and food, to bring card and all the banana, plantain, all these things. Like they'll give me product, at least 5 keg, 10 keg. At times I buy from them.
Ango, who says about 10 pirates were noticed during the raid, and all but Shola Sama escaped, warns other pirates to desist from the unlawful act.
We are up and ready for them, and they should look out. They should rather go and find another place to perpetrate their acts and not the Lagos waterways.
While perpetrators of electoral crimes may feel the land is now heavily guarded and so have resulted in using the sea to carry out their heinous activities, the Western Naval Command of the Nigerian Navy has assured Nigerians, and particularly Lagosians, that not only will they help in the movement of electoral materials to riverine areas, they are poised to ensure that no criminal caught on sea goes unpunished. Patience Ajiboye, CoreTV News, Lagos.
With the successful conduct of the presidential and National Assembly elections across the country on the 28th of March 2015, all attention is now on the governorship and state houses of assembly polls, which will take place on Saturday, April 11th. How prepared is Lagos for these elections? Oluwaseyi Adegoke has details in this report.
Saturday's battle for the governorship post in Lagos appears to be a two-man contest between Akinwumi Ambode of APC and Jimmy Agbaje of PDP. Leaving aside the controversies surrounding the statement credited to the Oba of Lagos, Rilwan Akiolu, about the non-indigens, many are still in high spirits to perform their civic rights.
To pray for tomorrow's election. We don't want any violence. The winner will win, the loser will lose. So whoever wins should take it. Whoever lose should accept it, like what the president did. Is a good example.
We are that federal have already been changed. We need the state to also be changed in a way that will favor the poor masses.
I like the way in Nigeria go now, because now peace you don't do for Nigeria.
Of course, we need to complete the election.
For the future ones coming are not in vain. In some hours' time, the people of Lagos will be deciding who takes over their affairs in the state. They only hope for a peaceful and credible election. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
President Goodluck Jonathan on Friday faulted a claim by the All Progressives Congress that his Thursday visit to Lagos was to coordinate rigging plans for the People's Democratic Party in the Saturday governorship election. He wondered why he would rig the governorship election for the PDP when he did not rig the March 28 presidential election in which he was a candidate. Jonathan's position was contained in a statement by his special advisor on media and publicity, Reuben Abati. Abati insisted that there was nothing unusual in people paying homage to the president when he is on a visit to Lagos or any other part of the country. He said the APC spokesman lied as usual and was rude to insinuate that Jonathan met with people in Lagos for the purpose of rigging the elections. The presidential spokesman said Mohammed and his paymasters were only cooking up meaningless tales in order to change the commendation Jonathan has received across the globe for conceding defeat in the presidential election. Sequel to the impeachment notice served the embattled governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, by the 19 APC lawmakers. The lawmakers at the sitting today had directed the chief judge to constitute a 7-man investigation panel to look into the allegations raised in the notice. The PDP faction of the House, led by Dele Olugbemi, has however countered the sitting of the G19 as they insist on being on recess, as the PDP, for the first time since inception, paraded their 7 members. Rashid has more. We do apologize, we cannot bring you that report right now. We'll sort that out and bring it to you subsequently. The Transition Monitoring Group has expressed concern over what it described as whirlwind of opportunistic defections currently gripping the polity, warning that it signals a dangerous trend towards a one-party state in which an opposition is non-existent. This was contained in a statement by the chairman of TMG, Ibrahim Zikirulai, in Abuja on Friday. According to the civil rights group, the unrepentant members of any government in power would stop at nothing until they overwhelmed the incoming administration. The organization said it was most disconcerting that members of the People's Democratic Party, whose party was defeated by the All Progressives Congress in the recent presidential election, were currently abandoning their platform and moving in droves to join the victorious party. TMJ explained that it had become imperative that the president-elect Muhammadu Buhari and his deputy Yemi Oshibanjo should ensure that they recruit a good team to run the government in a manner that would reflect the popular will of Nigerians as expressed on March 28. According to Zikirulai, his kind of tendencies has led some people to conclude that there is no particular difference between the APC and the PDP. The claim, TMG said, was further buttressed by the reality staring the citizens in the face, because a democracy without a strong and viable opposition is nothing but a smokescreen for dictatorship. One of the helicopters in the presidential fleet landed immediately after takeoff at the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, with 2 pilots and 2 passengers sustaining minor injuries due to prompt response by the National Emergency Management Authority, NEMA. The fire was put out fast to rescue the trapped victims. They are all safe and responding to treatment. The Nigerian Air Force have been removed from the spot immediately the crashed copper. The Ondo State Governor Olusegun Mimiko has reinstated about 1,000 local government workers his government sacked last year. The governor said he had also waived the outcome of the last promotion examination conducted for workers in the state. The 1,000 workers were laid off because of what the Ondo State government described as illegalities surrounding their employment. A statement by the State's Commissioner for Information, Kaode Akimade, however, indicated that the workers, about 50 in each of the 18 local government areas in the state, have been reinstated and the irregularities in the employment process corrected. The statement ordered that Mimiko had approved promotion of every worker that was due for promotion, irrespective of their performance in the promotional examination already concluded. The Information Commissioner further said that the state government had decided to commence preparation for the conduct of local government election in the state as soon as the state assembly election is done with on Saturday. The Mimico's administration had in 2014 embarked on a staff audit during which the government said it discovered that the councils had been engaged in illegal recruitment of workers. The state government also said salaries were being paid to non-existent workers. And the build-up to the 2015 general elections, Mimico had promised that elections would be conducted to the 18 local councils in the state after the general polls. Reports say petrol is still being sold for 100 naira in Ilorin and towns in Kwara State as at Thursday, with some filling stations remaining short. Many buyers of the product had complained that despite assurances from the government that the product would be sold at the official price of 87 naira per litre, it was still sold for 100 naira. A motorist at Tanke area of Ilorin who spoke to newsmen said it was surprising that petrol was being sold at such an exorbitant price. Meanwhile, the Kwara State Controller of Operations, Department of Petroleum Resources, Amos Jokodola, said the agency would ensure that filling stations selling the product above the official price were penalized. He said the DPR had shut many filling stations that did not comply with the government's directive. It's CoreTV Prime Time News. We'll take another break and be back with business, sports and stories outside Nigeria. To stay with us.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News. Welcome back. It's still CoreTV Primetime News. Now to business. The federal government has approved the implementation of Economic Community of West African Common External Tariff, ECOWAS KET, which takes effect from Saturday, April 11, 2015. Under these arrangements, all imports arriving into the country as from that date shall be subjected to the rates contained in the GET 2015 to 2019 and 2015 fiscal measures without recourse to the rates applicable before coming into effect of the policy. The Comptroller General of Nigeria Customs Service, DICO, Inde Abdullahi, has directed all customs area controllers to commence immediate enforcement of the policy. He also urged all stakeholders to ensure compliance with the new ECOWAS tariff to enhance trade felicitations within and outside the region. The approval for the implementation of the new tariff was conveyed in a statement signed by the Coordinating Minister for the Economy and Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. The fiscal policy measures comprise an import adjustment tax list, which involves additional taxes on 177 tariff lines of the ECOWAS GET. It also includes a national list consisting of items whose import duty rates have been reviewed to encourage more development in strategic sectors of the economy, and an import prohibition list applicable only to certain goods originating from non-ECOWAS countries. National Telecommunications Commission, NETCOM Consortium, referred a preferred bidder for Nigerian Telecommunications Limited, NITEL, and its mobile arm, MTEL, has completed the outstanding 70% of $252,521,000 bid price for the acquisition of the assets and business units of the enterprises, being $176,575,700. The company paid the 70% balance 4 days ahead of the deadline given by the Bureau for Public Enterprises for payment. NATCOM had on January 6, 2015 paid $75,756,003, which is 30% of the bid price, in line with the offer letter issued by BPE. The United Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, said on Friday rice trade this year is forecast to drop 2.5% from 2014 to 4.13 million tons. This is due to higher production in Asia. Rice imports by Nigeria are expected to dip 3.3% to 2.9 million tons in 2015. Global paddy output in 2015 is forecast to edge up 1.1% from last year to 749.8 million tons. The UN Food Agency said in its rice market monitor report for April. As such, the three Asian nations would account for a combined 65% of the world's rice trade, down slightly from 68% last year. FAO revised up India's rice exports last year to 11.3 million tons from 8.2 million tons estimated earlier, making it the world's largest exporter in 2014, followed by Thailand with 11 million tons and Vietnam with 6.5 million tons. China, which was the world's biggest importer last year, along with Nigeria, is forecast to raise its import volumes by 5.2% to 3.2 million tons in 2015 due to higher demands in the mainland, the report said. The federal government has approved the implementation of Economic Community of West African Common and External Tariff, ECOWAS-CET, which takes effect from Saturday, April 11th, 2015. Now it's time to join Sabina Izoko for Stock Market Report. Over to you, Sabina.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
Hello there and welcome to the Stock Market Report segment with me, Sabina Izuku. Equity market on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed on a positive note today as Nigerian All Shares Index appreciated by 1.19% to close at 34,930.02 basis points. The market capitalization increased in the same manner to close at 11.90 trillion naira. In all, a total of volume of 1.62 billion units of shares valued at 8.04 billion naira were exchanged in 6,793 deals. On the gainer side, Seplat all topped the gainers chart to close at 388 naira 50 kobo with 18 naira 50 kobo price difference, followed by Nigerian Breweries, Guinness, Mobil Oil and Beta Glass. On the flip side, Nestle topped the chart to trail by Total, Presco, Unilever and International Brewers. Meanwhile, Diamond Bank, Standard Alliance Insurance, First City Monument Bank were the most active to boost market turnover, with Access Bank and United Bank for Africa trading. And to wrap up the stock market report, here's the currency trade for today. I am Sabina Izuku.
CoreTV News Stock Market Report.
It's now time to join Brownson Umana for sports stories. Stay with us.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball, storming, Toyol with a flying lead.
No, taking them out in the lead and really.
Thanks for joining us in the ever-exciting world of sports. I am Brownson Uwana. African champion Super Falcons of Nigeria will feature in the women's football event at the 2015 All-African Games in Congo after they trounced Mali 8-0 and, of course, 9-1 on aggregate. Liverpool ladies star Sisat Oshola shone brightly as she was virtually involved in all the goals by a Nigerian besides scoring a double herself. France-based Zara Baranoze gave host Falcons the lead after 3 minutes. Francisca Odega made it 2-0 after 18 minutes before Oshola increased Nigerian tally on the 36 minutes. Nigeria under-23 men, meanwhile, will take on their counterparts Zambia on Saturday after they landed in Lusaka for the crucial return leg of the All-African Game qualifiers. The Nigerian delegation led by the Deputy Secretary General Technical Dr. Emmanuel Ikpeme touched down the Kenneth Kaduna International Airport at about 1 a.m. local time to the welcome hands of officials of the Nigerian Embassy, led by Consular Officer Shaibu Ali. The delegations were immediately driven to the Golden Park Hotel, Lusaka, in hired bus organized by the embassy, as there was no officials of the Football Association of Zambia on ground to receive the team. The team had its first training session at about 3 p.m. local time, which is about 2 p.m. Nigerian time. And now to some games that will be played in Europe over the weekend. Starting from the English Premier League, the first game on Saturday will see Swansea playing host to Everton. Stoke will travel to West Ham United. Leicester City will travel to West Bromwich Albion, while Tottenham Hotspur will take on Aston Villa at the White Hart Lane. On Sunday's fixture, we'll see Sunderland taking on Crystal Palace, Southampton versus Hull City, Burnley, Arsenal, Queen's Park Rangers will continue their relegations battle as they take on Chelsea, while the Super Sunday fixture will see the two Manchester teams going head-to-head against themselves. That's Manchester United versus Manchester City. And now to games that will be played in the Spanish La Liga. Real Madrid will continue their title chase as they play host to Elba. Malaga will take on Atletico de Madrid. Sevilla will take on Barcelona. Rayo Vallecano will travel to Celta Vigo, while Almeria will take on Granada on Saturday. On Sunday's fixture, we'll see Villarreal traveling to Getafe. Espanyol will play host to Athletic Club. Real Sociedad will take on Deportivo La Corona, while Cordoba will take on Elche. And for some fixtures in the Serie A on Saturday, we'll see Parma playing host to league leaders Juventus. Genoa will take on Cagliari. Verona will take on Internazionale. And on Sunday's fixture, we'll see Chievo traveling to Cesena. Udinese will play host to Palermo. Torino versus Roma. Napoli versus Fiorentina. Lazio will take on Empoli. Atalanta versus Sassuolo, while AC Milan will welcome Sampdoria. And finally, in the world of sports, in the German Bundesliga, Borussia Mönchengladbach will open the game on Saturday when they play host to Borussia Dortmund. Mainz 05 will take on Bayern Leverkusen. FC Bayern Munich, the league leaders, will welcome Frankfurt. FC Schalke 04 will take on Sporting Club Freiburg, while Pedram 07 will take on Augsburg. Hamburger versus Wolfsburg. On Sunday's fixture, we'll see Cologne playing host to Offenham, while VSV Stuttgart will take on Werder Bremen. And that's my final whistle on Sport News tonight. Very big thanks for watching. I am Brownson Wana Gift-Ogete. We'll be back with news outside Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Brownson Wana. Now outside Nigeria, the suspected mastermind of the 2008 Mumbai terror attack, Zakir Rehman, has been released on bail from a Pakistani jail. Jail officials in Rawalpindi said he was released on Friday morning, and his Home Minister Rajnath Singh has called the release unfortunate and disappointing. He had been granted bail in December but was kept in detention under public order legislation. That detention was declared void by the High Court, which ordered his release. He still faces trial along with 6 other suspects over the attacks, which left 166 people dead and damaged peace efforts between the two countries. Zakir Rehman's trial in the Mumbai attacks case still continues, but his release on bail suggests the legal evidence presented in court by prosecutors may not be enough for a conviction. This contrasts with 6 years ago when the Interior Minister at the time, Rehman Malik, provided graphic details of how a part of the Mumbai attacks conspiracy was hatched in Pakistan. Indian officials have since said that they also handed evidence against Mr. Rehman and his comrades to Pakistani prosecutors. It's CoreTV Primetime News. Just before we go, a recap of our major headlines. The Independent National Electoral Commission asks Nigerians to disregard rumor of voting with temporary voters' card. We also told you that the Independent National Electoral Commission postpones the House Assembly elections in 8 of 24 constituencies in Bayelsa State. There was also a report on security agencies all over the Federation expressing readiness to secure the election. That's our show for tonight. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Gift or Gete to go out tomorrow and exercise your right. Good night.